It's a big week for new releases, franchise revivals, and festival breakouts, spanning superhero reboots, anime juggernauts, true life sports dramas, and a couple of surprise left fields. Below, you'll find what each title is actually about, who's in it, and who made it. So you can decide what to watch next without wading through hype. We pulled together concise plot hooks plus the essential cast, crew, production, and release details for every title on the list. We've included concrete information on studios, distributors, runtimes, and where or when each film landed, so you can see how these projects came together behind the scenes. A big, bold, beautiful journey, 2025. A chance encounter sends two strangers on a magical realist trip that opens doorways, literal and figurative, into their pasts as they retrace pivotal moments and confront choices that shaped their lives. And it would, I mean, the film uses a road movie structure to move through memory spaces before closing on the present. And directed by Kogonada from a screenplay by Seth Reese. The film stars Margot Robbie and Colin Farrell with Kevin Kline and Phoebe Waller-Bridge. Sony released the US theatrical run in September, following a initial rollout in the Philippines. Benjamin Loeb shot the feature, and Joe Hisaishi composed, and Primitive War was set in Vietnam in 1968. A recon unit dubbed Vulture Squad is sent to locate missing Green Berets and instead encounters de-extinct dinosaurs in a remote valley with Soviet activity and a rogue science project complicating the mission. The plot mixes jungle warfare with creature attacks and a race to stop further incursions. Luke Spark directs and co-writes with author Ethan Pettis the adaptation of Pettis's novel, starring Ryan Quanten, Tricia Helfer, Nick Wexler, and Jeremy Piven. Produced by Spark Films and distributed in select territories via Rialto and Fathom, the release followed trailers and festival previews. Frederick Vidman composed the score. The Thursday Murder Club, 2025, based on Richard Osman's bestseller. The film follows four friends in a retirement community who meet weekly to dissect cold cases until they stumble into an active investigation that forces their separate to see them to apply their skills in real time. Mischief and clue chasing unfold across stately homes and village haunts, and directed by Chris Columbus from a screenplay by Katie Brandon, Suzanne Heathcote. The ensemble includes Helen Mirren, Pierce Brosnan, Ben Kingsley, and Celia Emery. Produced by Amblin and released by Netflix. The film runs 118 minutes with Thomas Newman composing and Don Burgess as cinematographer. Mantis. This pre-action thriller unfolds inside a clandestine guild of contract killers whose internal rules collapse, triggering turf grabs and betrayals among assassins. The story focuses on a veteran hitman crossing paths with a former trainee and a legendary retiree. Co-written and directed by Lee Tesson and co-written by Yan Sung Hyun. The Netflix feature stars Im Si-won, Park Gu-young, and Jo Woo-jin. Produced by C at Film and Streaming globally from September 26. It's a spin-off in the shared universe of Kill Bok Soon. Him 2025. A rising football prospect accepts training inside the secluded compound of an aging superstar quarterback, where mentorship curdles into manipulation and occult-tinged rituals. The plot tracks the athlete's gradual entrapment and the escalating dangers surrounding his career. Directed by Justin Tipping and produced by Monkey Paw Productions, the film stars Tyreek Withers and Marlon Wayans, with Julia Fox and Tim Heidecker. Universal handled the September release. Kira Kelly served as cinematographer, with Bobby Kurlick composing All of You 2024, set in a near future where technology exposes unspoken feelings. Two longtime friends navigate whether to act on a connection they've never articulated, putting careers and existing relationships under pressure. The story uses speculative ideas to frame an intimate romance beyond that. Written and directed by William Bridges, co-written with Brett Goldstein. The film stars Goldstein and Imogen Poots, with Zawe Ashton and Jenna Coleman in support. Again, is really my promise. And it runs 98 minutes, and all very platforms. Roll out at Toronto in the same rowback, and premiered that it's The Conjuring Last Rites 2025. The latest case file puts Ed and Lorraine Warren on a high-profile haunting investigation, drawing on the Smurl case as the film's basis and escalating into demonic confrontations tied to family history. In the plot threads, seance work, exorcism attempts, and investigative dead ends into a climactic housebound, directed by Michael Chave and produced by James Wan and Peter Safran. The film stars Vera Farmiga and Patrick Wilson, alongside Mia Tomlinson and Ben Hardy. New Line Warner Brothers released it in early September. Benjamin Wallfish composed, Ely Bourne shot, and Gregory Plotkin, Elliot Greenberg edited. It's become one of the series Cup global earners. The Smashing Machine 2025. This biopic follows MMA legend Mark Kerr through his ascendance in the late 1990s fighting world, and his struggles with pain management and addiction, tracing the toll of early no-holds-barred competition on body and psyche. The narrative draws from the 2002 documentary of the same name, dramatizing key bouts and personal relationships. Written and directed by Benny Safdie, the film stars Dwayne Johnson as Kerr, and premiered theatrically in October under A24, with broader on-demand availability to follow. And the festival reactions and coverage have highlighted Johnson's physical transformation and the production's commitment to ring authenticity. And well, not 28 years later, oftentimes 2025, set years after the original outbreak, the new chapter tracks survivors and new protagonists confronting the rage virus's legacy beyond isolated refuges, with the story expanding the world's scope and moral quandaries. And the film continues the franchise's blend of survival horror and societal collapse and contract. Danny Boyle returns to direct from Alex Garland's screenplay, with Jodie Comer, Aaron Taylor Johnson, Jack O'Connell, and Ralph Fiennes leading. A Columbia DNA/Decibel production released by Sony in June. It reunites Boyle with cinematographer Anthony Dodd Mantle and editor John Harris. Young Fathers provide the score. Demon Slayer Kimetsu no Yaiba the movie Infinity Castle 2025. The Infinity Castle arc brings Tanjiro and the Demon Slayer core into Muzan's labyrinth, escalating the series' running conflicts into large-scale confrontations across shifting rooms and vertical battle spaces. The film adapts late manga material with extended set pieces and ensemble matchups across the core. Directed by Haruo Sotozaki and produced by Ufotable, the feature stars Natsuki Hanae, Akari Kito, Yoshitsugu Matsuoka, Hiro Shimono, Takahiro Sakurai, and Akira Ishida. Distributed by Aniplex/Toho in Japan and internationally via Crunchyroll and Sony Pictures Releasing, it became one of the year's top-grossing films worldwide. The Long Walk, adapted from the Richard Bachman/Stephen King novel. This dystopian thriller follows 50 boys forced into a televised endurance walk, where stopping means elimination, and the last one standing earns a coveted prize, which is the first. The film situates the ordeal in, the 1970s setting, heightening the reality TV spectacle and societal complicity around it. Francis Lawrence directs and produces with a cast featuring Cooper Hoffman, David Johnson, Charlie Plummer, Bin Wang, and Joshua Ojik. Lionsgate released the 108-minute feature. Joe Willems served as cinematographer with Mark Yoshikawa editing and Jeremiah Freites composing the Fantastic Four First Steps 2025. Set in a retro futurist 1960s on an alternate universe Earth. The story follows Reed Richards, Sue Storm, Ben Grimm, and Johnny Storm as they defend their world against the cosmic threat of Galactus, with the Future Foundation and theory of science optimism baked into the world building. They say their words, but the script sidesteps an origin retread, dropping viewers into an established, celebrated team, directed by Matt Shackman from a screenplay by Josh Friedman, Eric Pearson, Jeff Kaplan, and Ian Springer. The film stars Pedro Pascal, Vanessa Kirby, Evan Moss-Backrack, Garner, and Ralph Ineson. Produced by Marvel Studios and distributed by Disney. It premiered in July. Jess Hall handled cinematography and Michael Giacchino composed the score. Weapons. Zach Kreger's mystery horror centers on a small community after a classroom of children vanish at the exact same time, propelling a multi-thread story that gradually links disappearances, witnesses, and local authorities outweigh multi-threads. Multi-thread ministers are witnessed taking possible. The setup leans into dread and puzzle box structure rather than creature feature shocks. Written and directed by Kreger. The ensemble includes Josh Brolin, Julia Garner, Alden Ehrenreich, Austin Abrams, and others. New Line Warner Brothers released the film with Largan Sepul shooting and Joe Murphy editing. And Kreger also shares music credit with Ryan and Hayes Holiday. Superman 2025. James Gunn's reboot positions Clark Kent in a world where his intervention in an international crisis sparks political blowback engineered by Lex Luthor. The plot tracks Superman's struggle to restore trust while balancing newsroom life in Metropolis with alliances among other heroes. The film draws inspiration from the All-Star Superman comics, weaving in crypto and a wider DC roster. David Corin Sweat leads as Clark Kent Superman with Rachel Brosnahan, Nicholas Hoult, Edie Gathegi, Anthony Kerrigan, Nathan Fillion, and Isabella Merced. Produced by DC Studios and released by Warner Brothers in July. It runs 129 minutes. Principal photography spans Svalbard and Trilith Studios in Georgia, with Henry Braham as cinematographer, and music by John Murphy and David Fleming. The distance nature and the inside nature, the distance nature described or insides or body roots, and Paul Thomas Anderson's thriller follows a former revolutionary who must rescue his daughter from a corrupt strongman, with the story taking cues from Thomas Pynchon and unfolding as a high-stakes chase across deserts and cityscapes. The narrative centers on power, surveillance, and personal reckoning, anchored by leads who collide across intersecting investigation. Written and directed by Anderson, the film stars Leonardo DiCaprio, Sean Penn, Benicio del Toro, Regina Hall, Tiana Taylor, and Chase Infinity. Warner Brothers released it in late September after a Los Angeles premiere. It was projected in formats ranging from IMAX 70 millimeters to VistaVision, with Johnny Greenwood composing and Amy Jurgensen editing. Share which of these you're planning to watch and why in the comments. And finally, please remember to subscribe to our channel and hit that like button to support the content. Stacy, have you ever wondered what happens when dinosaurs rise in Vietnam or retired detective squad dives into cold cases? This week's hottest releases on IMDb: mix action, horror, and heart, stirring imaginations with fresh twists on old favorites. From magical journeys to endless battles, these films capture the thrill of cinema's wildest ideas. Let's dive into 15 standout titles that are dominating screens worldwide. In a big, bold, beautiful journey, strangers embark on a surreal trip through memories in a road movie style. Margot Robbie and Colin Farrell star, directed by Kogonada, with Sony's September release. Next, Primitive War drops a recon team into a dinosaur-infested jungle in 1968. Vietnam fanfare. Luke Spark directs this mix of warfare and creatures, starring Ryan Quanten and Tricia Helfer. The Thursday Murder Club turns retirees into sleuths, solving real crimes in a charming manner scheme of Chris Columbus helms with Helen Mirren and Pierce Brosnan, a Netflix hit running 108K minutes. Mantis reveals a killer guild's chaos, crossing paths with veterans in a Korean thriller. A second, I'm Siwon leads this Netflix stream from September 26th, spun off from Kill Bogzun. Him follows a football prodigy trapped in a superstar's manipulative world laced with occult rites. Justin Tipping directs Tyreek Withers and Marlon Wayans, released by Universal in September. All of you explore friends facing unspoken feelings in a tech-exposed future romance. William Bridges scripts with Brett Goldstein and Imogen Poots on Apple TV Plus. Since Toronto Fest slow, The Conjuring Last Rites pits Ed and Lorraine Warren against a demonic Smurl haunt. Michael Chaves directs Vera Farmiga and Patrick Wilson, a New Line blockbuster from early September. The Smashing Machine chronicles MMA champ Mark Kerr's drug battles and brutal fights. Benny Safdie writes, starring Dwayne Johnson, premiering October under A24. In the 28 years later, extends the Rage virus saga into new survivors and moral dilemmas. Danny Boyle directs Jodie Comer in this Sony June release from Alex Garland's screenplay, Demon Slayer, Kimetsu no Yaiba, Infinity Castle unleashes epic fights in Muzan's Shifting Labyrinth. Haruo Sotozaki adapts manga with Natsuki Hanae, worldwide top grosser via Aniplex and Crunchyroll. The Long Walk forces boys into a deadly endurance game in 1970s dystopia. Francis Lawrence produces with Cooper Hoffman a Lionsgate 108-minute thriller, The Fantastic Four First Steps, defends Earth from Galactus in retro 1960s sci-fi action. Matt Shackman directs Pedro Pascal and Vanessa Kirby, Marvel Studios' July Triumph. Weapons unravels child disappearances in a mystery horror puzzle by Zach Kreger. Josh Brolin joins the ensemble, released by New Line in select theaters. And finally, Superman reboots Clark Kent's heroic crisis amid political storms and hero alliances. And James Gunn leads David Corenswet in a Warner Brothers July epic, inspired by All-Star Comics. And one battle after another chases a revolutionary rescuing his daughter in a pension-inspired thriller. Paul Thomas Anderson directs Leonardo DiCaprio, and Sean Penn, Warner Brothers, September sensation in IMAX. Who knew reviving dinosaurs was easier than pickling horror? Pick your poison from this. Let's. With that said, thanks for watching, and until next time. The task involves creating a fun, engaging HTML response with only p tags for content. The title must be clickbait, drawing users in with curiosity. No headings, links, images, or formatting tags like IB are allowed. Keeping it simple and focused today, please remember to subscribe to our channel and hit that like button to support the content. Have you ever wondered what happens when dinosaurs rise in Vietnam or a retired detective squad dives into cold cases? This week's hottest releases on IMDb mix action, horror, and heart-stirring imaginations with fresh twists on old favorites. From magical journeys to endless battles, these films capture the thrill of cinema's wildest ideas. Let's dive into 15 standout titles that are dominating screens worldwide that we, in a big, bold, beautiful journey, strangers embark on a surreal trip through memories in a road movie style. Margot Robbie and Colin Farrell star, directed by Koganana, with
Sony's September release.
Next, Primitive War drops a recon team into a dinosaur-infested jungle in 1968. Vietnam. Luke Spark directs this mix of warfare and creature, starring Ryan Quanten and Tricia Helfer. The Thursday Murder Club turns retirees into sleuths, solving real crimes in a charming manner skiing. Chris Columbus helms with Helen Mirren and Pierce Brosnan, a Netflix hit running 118 minutes. Mantis reveals a killer guild's chaos, crossing paths with veterans in a Korean thriller, assuming offered politician. However, similar to this, I'm Siwon leads this Netflix stream from September 26th, spun off from Kill Bozoon. Him follows a football prodigy trapped in a superstar's manipulative world, laced with occult rites. Justin Tipping directs Tyreek Withers, and Marlon Wayans released by Universal in September. All of You explores friends facing unspoken feelings in a tech-exposed future romance. William Bridges scripts with Brett Goldstein and Imogen Boots on Apple TV+. Since Toronto Fest, The Conjuring Last Rites pits Ed and Lorraine Warren against a demonic Smurl haunt. Michael Chavez directs Vera Farmiga, and Patrick Wilson, a New Line blockbuster from early September. The Smashing Machine chronicles MMA champ Mark Kerr's drug battles and brutal fights. Benny Safdie writes, starring Wayne Johnson, premiering October under A24. 28 years later, extends the Rage Virus saga into new survivors and moral dilemmas. Danny Boyle directs Jodie Comer in this Sony June release from Alex Garland's screenplay. Demon Slayer Kimetsu no Yaiba Infinity Castle unleashes epic fights in Muzan's shifting labyrinth. Haruo Sotozaki adapts manga with Natsuki Hanai, worldwide top grosser via Aniplex and Crunchyroll. The Long Walk forces boys into a deadly endurance game in a 1970s dystopia. Francis Lawrence produces with Cooper Hoffman a Lionsgate 108-minute thriller. The Fantastic Four, First Steps, defends Earth from Galactus in retro 1960s sci-fi action. Matt Shackman directs Pedro Pascal and Vanessa Kirby. Marvel Studios July Triumph, Weapons unravels tiled disappearances in a mystery horror puzzle by Zach Kreiner. Josh Brolin joins the ensemble, released by New Line in select theaters. Superman, you see reboots, Clark Kent's heroic crisis amid political storms and hero alliances. James Gunn leads David Corenswet in a Warner Brothers July epic inspired by All-Star Comics, and one battle after another chases a revolutionary rescuing his daughter in a Pynchon-inspired thriller. Paul Thomas Anderson directs Leonardo DiCaprio and Sean Penn, Warner Brothers September sensation in IMAX. Who knew reviving dinosaurs was easier than pickling horror? Pick your poison from this list. So with that said, thanks for watching, and until next time,